Hello and welcome to CN Professional Institute. We are still looking at simple and compound interest. In the previous video, we started with compound interest and we did some computations, right? Yeah, let's continue with compound interest. So we went through this already, right? But let's go over it again. We said that in doing compound interest calculations, we are likely to come across these stuff here, all right? And then the first one, we said compounded annually means we calculate the interest every year, or we calculate it once a year. So that's what we have here. Once what every year, right? That's one time a year. Then compounded semi-annually means we calculate the interest every 6 months, and that'll be twice a year. Because first 6 months you calculate interest, the second 6 months you calculate what annual interest, making what twice. So we are going to calculate interest twice what a year if it is compounding semi-annually. If it's compounding quarterly, then it means you have to calculate interest every 3 months, and that'll be 4 times a year, right? So every 3 months. So the first 3 months you calculate your interest, second 3 months. So if you do that, you are going to calculate the interest 4 times what a year. So if it is compounding quarterly, then we are going to calculate the interest what 4 times a year. If it's compounding monthly, then we are going to calculate the interest 12 times a year. If it's compounding daily, they are going to calculate the interest what 365 times. Okay, because every day we calculate interest, every day we calculate what interest. All right, now let me check. We went through this once already, so let's go through the question. Let's solve this question. All right, so it says calculate the future value and the interest earned on 50,000 at an annual rate of 12%, compounded A annually, B semi-annually, C quarterly, D monthly, and E daily for 4 years. All right. So let's solve this question. So for A, it says it is compounding annually. Okay. And don't forget that the time is what 4 years, as we have here. Okay. So if we pick this A compounding annually, okay, in 4 years' time, it will be compounding, or we are going to have what? We are going to be calculating the interest 4 times because it's compounding annually for 4 years. So it means every year we calculate the interest. So if it's compounding annually for 4 years, then our N will be what? 4. I following. So your N will be equal to what? 4. Okay. And then the rate here will be the 12%. So we have the rate there, which is what? 12%. We are not going to do any adjustment to it. We are not going to divide or multiply because this 12% is an annual rate. Okay. And it's also compounding what? Annually. So we have our rate to be 12% and then N to be N to be 4, right? Okay. So let's calculate the future value and the interest. So we said the future value is equal to the principal, okay, or the amount invested, or the present value into bracket 1 plus R raised to power n. That's the formula. So future value is equal to the 50,000 that we are investing right now into bracket 1 plus the rate is 12%, okay, which is 0.12, and then n is what? 4. Okay. So 50,000 into bracket 1 plus 0.12 raised to power 4, and this gives us 78 6 7 6 78 6 7 6. So this is the future value. Okay. So if you have the future value like this, then the interest will be the difference between. Don't forget the question said we should calculate the interest and the words, the future value. So we've got the future value and the interest. So the interest will be the difference between the future value and the present value. Okay, that's the difference between this figure and the 50,000 what invested. All right. And this should give us, so this should give us 28,676. 28,676. So these are interest. Okay, then you add your CD sign neatly. Okay, let's go to B. So B is saying, let me change my pen color. B is saying the same rate compounding semi-annually. Compounding semi-annually, right? So here, because compounding semi-annually for 4 years, compounding semi-annually means that we said every 6 months it will compound. That's the meaning. Okay, every 6 months it will what? Compound. Okay. All right. So what means that if it's compounding semi-annually, meaning it's compounding every 6 months, in a year it will compound twice. In a year to compound twice. So in 4 years, it will compound what? 8 times. So n be equal to what? Your 2 by what? 4, which is 8. Don't forget the n in the formula is not years, it's a period. Okay, here we are going to have what? It will go to compound 8 times, as we said, right? Because it's compounding semi-annually, meaning it's compounding every 6 months, meaning every 1 year it will compound twice. So if in a year to compound twice, then 4 years it will compound what? 8 times. Then your R in the question was what? 12%, right? But you don't use the 12%. You have to divide by the 2, the number of times it will compound, so that you get what? 6%. Okay. The 12% is an annual rate, but yeah, it's compounding every 6 months, meaning to compound twice a year. So you have to divide the 12% by 2. Okay. So that we get the rate for the 6 months, the first 6 months. So this 6% is what? For the first 6 months. Then another 6% for the next 6 months, making what? 12%. Okay. So we divide the rate by the number of times that it will be what? Compounding. All right. So now your future value is equal to, I'm not going to repeat the formula again. Is the present value, which is the 50,000, or the amount we invested, 1 plus the rate 6%, which is 0.06 raised to the power what? 8. So we have 50,000 into bracket 1 plus 0.06 raised to the power 8, and this is giving me 79692. 79692 Ghana at this end. And your focus should be on getting the concept, okay? Maybe the punching, I might be rounding some figures, you might not be getting the exact figures there. Don't worry, just make sure you get the understanding. So if that's the case, then we said the interest will be the difference between the future value 79692, 79692, and then the 50 what? Thousand. All right. And this gives us 29,692. So this is the interest. This is the interest. Okay. Then let's go to C. C says so what we did right now is semi-annually. C is saying quarterly, right? C is saying quarterly. Now, if an interest is compounding quarterly, meaning it compounds every 3 months, then it means in a year it's going to be compounding what? 4 times, as we said. So it will be compounding what? 4 times. So what happens is that your quarterly, so the rate, okay, is 12% divided by what? You have to divide by what? 4. Okay. Why are we dividing by 4? We said that if it's compounding quarterly, yeah, that if it's compounding every 3 months, then it's going to compound 4 times in a year. So divide the rate 12% by the 4. Or To make it more practical, you can pick the 12%, divide by what? 12 months. Then every month is 1%. Then multiply this again by what? 3 months. So that you get 3%. This is it's more logical. I mean, yeah, because we said 3 months. Okay, if it's compounding quarterly, a quarter has 3 months. So what you can do, instead of dividing the 12% by 4, you can pick the 12%, divide by 12 months to get a rate for a month, and multiply by 3 months. You get the same answer as for the 3%. Okay, so I'm saying here, or you can do the rate 12% over 12 months, then times what? 3 months. So that this will give us the same what? 3%. So that's the rate. So the rate is 3%. Then the n is equal to, we said if it's compounding quarterly, then come out 4 times in a year. So that will be 4 times. So 1 year, 4 times. How many years do you have? 4 years. So you see our n will be what? 16. So the future value will be equal to 50,000 here into bracket 1 plus 3%, 0.03 raised to the power 16. 50,000 into bracket 1 plus 0.03 raised to the power 16, and I'm getting 80235. 80235. So the interest will be the difference between the 80235 and the 50,000. That'll be the compound interest, and this should give us 30,235 Ghana cedis. So this is the interest. All right, hope you're following. Okay, then let's look at D. D says it's compounding monthly. Okay, so monthly n will be equal to, so if it's compounding monthly, then in the whole year it will compound what? 12 times. So that'll be 12 times the 4 years, and that gives us what? 48. Then the rate, we said the rate is 12%, right? But we have to divide it by what? 12. So if you divide 12 by 12, you're going to have 1%, which is 12 by 12 times 1. So we have what? 1%. So the future value will be equal to 50,000 here into bracket 1 plus 1%, which is 0.01 raised to the power 48. So 50,000 into bracket 1 plus 0.01 raised to the power 48, and I'm getting 8611 as the future value, and therefore the interest is the difference between the 80,611 and then the 50,000 here, and that gives me 3611. 3611. So that's the interest end. Then E, finally, okay, so let's go to E. But before that, I'm sure you can punch these things on your calculator. These things here, you have to do the one in the bracket first. Here like this, 1 plus 0.01, board mass bracket first. So 1 plus 0.01 will give us 1.01. Then you make it raise to the power 48. When you get the answer, then you can multiply by the 50,000, or you can punch everything on your calculator straightforward. Okay. E says compounding daily. Yeah, so if it's compounding daily, then your rate will be 12% divided by what? 365. We have 365 normal days in a year, and this will give you 0.03288%. 0.3 0.03288%, and this percentage. So you now come and convert it to decimal. Okay, so that's it. So it's either this percent or you do this figure here divided by 100. So you get R to be also be equal to 0.0003288. So it's either here in percentage here or here without percentage decimal. All right. So just pick your calculator and divide 0.03288 by 100. Okay, you should get the down number, the down figure there. All right. Okay. Then your n will be equal to, now if it's compounding daily, in a year it will compound 365 times. Then in 4 years, multiply by 4. It'll be 365 by 4. Okay. 365 times 4, which will give us 1460. 1460. So we have this here. Then the future value is equal to the 50,000 here. Then 1 plus 0.0003288 raised to the power 1460. Okay, 50,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.0003288, and that should give us 80801. As I said, if you're not getting the same figures, don't worry. Maybe because of roundings and stuff, okay, there might be some slight differences. Focus on getting the understanding and how to compute it. So your interest, we said interest will be the difference between the amount you invested, the 50,000, and the future value. So that'll be 80,801 minus 50,000, and that should give us 30,801. So now let me draw your attention to something. Can you see how the same amount, the same 50,000, okay, is changing over the period when you calculated the interest? See, the first one, this is the interest you are earning. So if it's compounded annually, you earn 28,676 for the same period, for the same 4 years, the same amount, 50,000 for 4 years. But because of the compounding periods, because of different compounding periods, you see how the interest rate is changing. The first one, you get 28,676. Then come to the second one, you're getting 29,000 something. Then C, you are getting what? 30,000 something. D, you are getting what? Also 30,000 and something, but it's increasing. Then E, you're also getting 30,800 and something. So you see, it keeps increasing. The interest rate, or the MNC, the interest end keeps increasing. So you see, the more the compounding period, the better. That's the idea. Compound interest means interest on interest. So the interest will also earn interest. So the more it compounds, the better. All right. Let's go and solve last two complex questions. Then we can do something else, right? Okay. So, okay. So let's look at this last question. So it says, how long will it take for an investment to double in value if it earns 8% per annum compounded annually? B, how long will it take to triple at the same rate? So this is a bit complex, but not entirely complex. We are going to get it. All right. Now we just want to find how long. How long means what? We are looking for what? N. Okay. Or the years or the time. Okay. How long will it take an investment to double? in value if it earns 8% per annum compounded what annually. So we are saying, okay, the future value. If you come to the ones we just computed here, look at it. We said this one here like this. The future value was what? Let me change the pen color. The future value was what yet? 80,801. The present value was what? 50,000. So what I'm saying is that how long will it take an investment to what? To double in value. So how long will it take this 50,000 to become what? 100,000 future value? That's all. Now, once again, if you come to this question, future value is what? 80 thousand 611. That's the future value. The present value is 80,000. I'm sorry, 50,000. So we are saying how long will it take an investment? Okay, let's say this 50,000 to become what? 100,000. Okay, to double. That's the meaning, to double in value. So here, what we can do is that with the initial amount. So let's say the principal be P. Okay, so we can say let initial amount. So let's say let's make the initial amount. I don't like this pen color. Let me change this. Okay, let the initial amount be what? Be P. That's the principal. We all know. Then your interest rate is what? 8%, which is in the question. And 8% is the same as 0.08. For our n, we don't know. That's what we are looking for. I told you how long is the n or the time. But from here, we can set up an equation because we are saying for how long will it take an investment to what? To double. So we are saying, okay, we can say future value is equal to 2 times what? The present value. That's what it means. How long will it take the initial deposit to what? To double itself? I hope you're following. So as I told you, if it doubles, then you see that the future value will become what? Twice the present value. If the present value is 50,000, then the future value will be what? 100,000. If the present value is 10,000, then the future value will be what? 20,000. That's the meaning. How long will it take to double? So we're going to use this expression to solve for what? N. So we can say, okay, future value is equal to, P. Okay. As we know, the formula 1 plus R raised to the power N. This is what we usually know. But in this case here, we are saying that if you want to do substitution here, we said the future value here is now what? 2P. So we are saying the future value is equal to what? 2P now. So what we are going to do is that in place of the future value, we put 2P is equal to what? P into bracket 1 plus. The rate is what? 8%, is 0.08. Where's the power N? We don't know N. Now here, what we can do is that we can take away the P. When we divide both sides by P, the P will go away. Okay. So what we are going to do here, we can say divide both sides by what? Divide both sides by what? By P. So if you divide both sides by P, we are going to have 2P equals P into bracket 1 plus 0.08 raised to the power what? N. So I divide by P, I divide by what? P. So this P cancel P, P cancel P. So you see I have 2 is equal to 1 plus 0.08 raised to the power N. And that will be the same as 2 is equal to, so 1 plus 0.08 is 1.08 raised to the power N. All right. Then from here, what we can do is that we can take log to both sides in order to easily find our N. We can say we can take log to both sides. So if we take log to both sides, we are going to have log 2 is equal to log 1.08 n. Okay, and then log 2 is equal to, if you look at the rules of log, Okay, this raised to the power n here, you bring it forward or you bring it down, so it becomes what? N log 1.0 what? N log 1.08. Okay, so to find n, we have to divide both sides by what? Log 1.08. We divide both sides by log 1.08. So divide here by log 1.08, divide here by uh, log 1.08. So see this, cancel this. So we have our now n to be equal to log 2 divided by log 1.08. Okay, so your n is equal to, if you divide log 2 by log 1.08, you realize that your n will be equal to, by the way, you can just punch log 2 on your calculator. Log 2 on the calculator is something like 0.30102999, something like that. Okay, you can just do it straightforward, and then log 1.08 is giving us 0.0334424. Okay, so when you divide this, you get approximately what? 9. Yeah, you can just, when you get to this point here, just punch it straightforward with your calculator. Log 2 divide by log 1.08, and you get the answer straightforward. Okay, so therefore you realize that our n is equal to what? 9 years approximately. So meaning that if you invest 50,000 now, in 9 years time, 50,000 will turn to what? 100,000. That's what it means. 50,000 will turn to 100,000. If you invest 5,000 now at 8%, in 9 years time, the 5,000 will turn to what? 10,000. It will double. That's the meaning. All right. So how long will it take an investment to double? If the interest rate is 8%, then, and it's compounding annually, then it will take 9 years for the investment to double, to get twice what you have invested. Then let's look at the last one here. It's similar though. So let's look at the B. It's the same approach. This one is saying how long will it take to triple at the same rate? So the rate is still 8%. So the same thing. Here, future value is equal to, but because here it is saying how long will it take to triple, okay, your future value will be equal to 3 times what? The initial amount or the principal. All right, will be 3 times the principal. So 3 times principal should give you a future value. That's what it means. So you realize that your future value will be equal to 3p because it will triple. Then we set up the formula. Future value is equal to the principal 1 plus r raised to power n. This is a normal formula. So in place of future value, we will put 3. We substitute what? 3p. So 3p is equal to p into bracket 1 plus, the rate is still the same, 0.08. We don't know, so raised to power n. So here, if you divide both sides by p, okay, here the p will cancel p, leaving 3. Here the p will cancel p, leaving 1 plus 0.08 raised to power n. And then here 3 is equal to, so 1 plus 0.08 give us 1.08 here raised to power n, right? Okay, then the same, we take log to both sides. So take log to both sides. Taking log to both sides, we are going to have log 3 is equal to log 1.08 raised to power n. So log 3 is equal to, then we bring the n here, so it will be n log 1.08, and this rule is from log. Okay, it's a rule of log. Then here, to make n the subject, we divide here by log 1.08. Then we divide here by log 1.08. So this cancel this. So see that your n will be equal to log 3 over log 1.08. Okay, so you can just point this straight on your calculator. Punch it straight, and you get something like 14.3 years approximately. All right, so that's log 3 divided by log 1.08. So what it means is that if the interest rate is 8% compounding annually, okay, then it will take 14 years approximately for you to triple your investment. So if you invest 5,000 now, it will take you 14 years to get 15,000. You see, it triples. If you invest 20,000 now, it will take you 14 years to get 60,000. You see, to triple. That's what it means. All right. So that is that. So let's end here. So in this video, we looked at compound interest. We solved calculations or some computations on compound interest. That's not all. We have exciting topics coming up, so we can check videos on that. Okay, annuities, accounting rate of return, internal rate of return, profitability index, um, payback period, and a whole lot. Okay, how to calculate sinking fund. How to set up a sinking fund to meet future expenditure, loan amortization. All right, so you can check videos on that, and then you practice more questions. All right, and you'll be fine. So let's end here. Once again, this is CN Professional Institute. CN Professional Institute is an accredited tuition provider for professional exams. So you want to be a chartered accountant, you want to be a chartered tax practitioner, you want to be a chartered economist. So you can talk about talk of your professional exams. You can register with CN Professional Institute. We also have scholarship opportunities or packages available that cover your tuition as you prepare for your professional certification. So you can check that one out. You can contact us, and then you register study with CN Professional Institute. Let's end here. I'll see you in the next video.